It's the final countdown. God will do things in your life that you don't expect.
Come get me. How about that?
What? Let me pull it, Taylor. You gotta get situated, you know. Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday. We are really glad that you're here, and it's been really fun to make and have these videos with you, having community together in the midst of coronavirus season of being home. We still can be together. So, yeah. Hey Bailey.
What's up, T?
Hey, it's morning. It's evening.
Morning.
What'd you have for breakfast today?
I had 2 homemade cinnamon rolls. They were so good.
We've already talked about this. Cinnamon rolls is like one of your favorite things.
Not actually. However, Emily makes some bomb cinnamon rolls, and so I eat them. I think they should be eaten after 10 a.m.
You don't think they should be eaten?
And she thinks they should be eaten all hours of the day.
Okay, so what about donuts? Can you eat donuts after 10 a.m.?
No.
So breakfast food stays at breakfast?
Unless it's breakfast for dinner. But cinnamon rolls and donuts do not count towards
You're
that.
putting way too many rules on me right now.
Only eggs, bacon, and pancakes can be eaten for dinner.
Hey Bailey, what's new in your life?
Well, I got a shirt this morning. And the cool thing is, mine is red and yours is not.
So is red better than white? Look at my shirt. I got a new shirt too.
Red is better than white. It's facts.
But white is neutral.
Yeah, no one likes Switzerland.
Red is so bold. You're probably going to get a ticket if you have a red car because the cops can see your car.
I'm like America, the UK.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey, we also have black shirts. Ryan has on a black shirt. Ryan, come sit with us, and so everyone can see your shirt. Great.
This is the only time we're not 6 feet away.
That's true. He's not even truly sitting.
I'm squatting. Corona-free squat. Everybody right here.
Hey, so, okay, bye, Ryan. We have these really great shirts. We're pretty excited about them. They're only $6. So if you want one, go on the website, wolfworthumc.org, and buy a shirt for only $6, and then we will deliver it to you. So you also get to see our faces when we deliver our shirts.
I think
to
that's
you.
what I'm most excited about with these shirts is that I get to see all my people in person.
That's
and we'll
true.
stay 6 feet away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we'll do all the
we'll
things.
be in the car and like throw them to you out the window.
You have to catch them with your mouth, however.
Like a dog or a dolphin or something?
Yes, like a dolphin catches with their mouth.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Okay, so let's get moving. Today we are in Luke chapter 19, and we are going to tell the story about Zacchaeus. And you may recognize his name. Why would you recognize his name, Bailey?
Because he's a wee little man.
Do you want to sing a song about him?
I actually don't know the song.
I actually don't know the song either.
Oh my gosh. We'll put it in the video somewhere.
Maybe. We'll see.
Here we go. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he, really little.
Maybe no one knows the song. Maybe the song is extinct.
You think it's like the Berenstein versus Berenstain Bears?
Who are also extinct. Okay, so we're going to talk about Zacchaeus from Luke 19. And there's a lot that we can learn about the heart of God in how he approaches Zacchaeus. Okay, so because we're in the book of Luke, we are this is one of the Gospels. This is where Jesus is on earth. He is doing ministry. He's doing miracles. He's doing teaching, but he's also just being a guy who eats dinner with people. He's being a guy who travels around, who meets people, who heals them, who has kindness for them and patience. So he's being just a human, but he's also being God in human flesh. I'm just going to start reading, and then we'll talk about Zacchaeus' life. So, Jesus entered Jericho, and he was passing through. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was on account of the crowd, but he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up in the sycamore tree.
He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see
Jesus, for he was about to pass that way. Okay, so here we are, and we are in Jericho, which, here's a little Bible trivia. Why is Jericho valuable in the Old Testament stories? Do you know?
Because there was a guy who marched around him 13 times with the Israelite army.
Okay, and then why does that matter that they marched around Jericho 13 times?
Because then they shouted super loud, and the walls fell.
Okay, yes, and the guy is Joshua. He just called him a guy. A guy in the Old Testament. Joshua in the Old Testament leads God's people. They marched around Jericho. The reason this is super important is that this is the first sign that we see of the Israelites taking over a town in the Promised Land, right? And so Jericho is a place where God has already showed up before. And the same way that God is faithful before, now, and the future, we get to see that. And so when we get context clues like that from Luke in the Bible, or from anyone in the Bible, we can pull on things that we already know that have already been taught, right? That's the value of maturity. We've talked about that a couple weeks ago, the value of spending time in your faith. So Jesus enters Jericho where Zacchaeus is. He's a chief tax collector. That means that he is working for the Roman government, but he is a Jew, so he is part of the people who are part of God's people, but he's working for the Roman government, and he collects their taxes. The way that he makes his money is by raising the taxes higher than they should be and basically stealing from them. And he has stolen so much in these taxes that he is rich and everyone knows it. He's rich enough for Luke to write it down. And this is verse 5. Jesus came to the place, and he looked up at Zacchaeus and said, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today."
And as the Savior passed that way, he looked up in the tree, and he said, "Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today."
So Zacchaeus hurried down and received Jesus joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, "He has gone in to be the guest of a sinner." Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone, I will restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, for he is also a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." We see that Jesus comes to Zacchaeus in the tree, tells him to come down.
Why don't you come on down and talk to me here for a minute? Let's figure this out.
Man, I gotta get back to work.
Nah, just come on down. We'll get this figured out, and we'll get you back to
man.
work.
No.
Steve, come on down. Steve, come on down.
Come get me. How about that?
Jesus goes to his house because he said, "Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house." And his response to that is what we're going to talk through. But he repays people that he's stolen from. He's give half his goods to the poor. And then Jesus tells him, "Your house is saved." Okay. So there's a lot of things that happen with this that are like super valuable. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about first is Zacchaeus did not expect his day to look like this, right? He's kind of like a pretty interesting guy. I bet he knows that he's kind of a mess. He did not expect Jesus to come and talk to him and for him to get saved that day. So it's kind of like sometimes we think, "Oh, I want to go get my hair cut." And then you go and get your hair cut. And for girls, I like cut my hair a lot. And then I walk out and I'm like, "Oh, this is not what I thought it would be." And I think Zacchaeus, this interaction is way more than a haircut situation, or way more than I have this expectation when I go to school and then something totally different happens, right? All he's doing is trying to see the situation. He's not trying to be in the situation. There's a lot of places in scripture where people approach Jesus and say, "Jesus, I need your help." Zacchaeus does not do that. Jesus comes to him and says his name, "Zacchaeus, hurry down. I'm coming to your house." There's so much value in Jesus saying his name. Okay, so here we go some more. I guess I'm in the mood for Bible trivia. Where else in Scripture, Bailey, does Jesus or God call someone by their name?
I think of Samuel, when God called out to Samuel, whatever, all of those kind of things.
Okay. Yes, he calls out to Samuel, and what is he doing in that situation? He's trying to teach Samuel how to hear his voice. Also, with last week just being Easter, when Jesus has resurrected, and who is it? Do you know? Here's more Bible trivia for you. Which woman is it that he says her name, and that's when she recognizes that it's Jesus? Do you know who it is?
Is that Mary Magdalene?
It is Mary. And all he says is Mary. And she recognized who he is by the way he says her name. There's not a lot of places where Jesus calls people by name in these Gospels. The disciples, yes. But the people in the crowd, he doesn't use their name a lot. And he says, Zacchaeus, come down. Jesus knows your name. And in the midst of knowing your name, that means he knows your family. That means he knows your background. That means he knows where you came from, and he knows where you're going.
And what a blessing, or what like a goal is it? Like, how cool is it that not only when God calls your name, but you recognize his voice. Like, I feel so often God's calling my name, and I don't recognize it's him. You know, I feel more like Samuel than I do Mary Magdalene. But how cool would it be to be like Zacchaeus or like Mary Magdalene? When God calls your name, you recognize he's calling me.
So Jesus came to him. As Christians, we think that we have to come to Jesus. Like, I need to go to God in prayer and ask him for help, which, yes, but Jesus will come to you. And in coming to you, he is meeting you where you are in the midst of feeling, maybe you feel isolated because we're in coronavirus, and maybe you feel like you don't ever see your people, and we're in this place of like, I don't know what's going to happen. Jesus is coming to where we are, and he's calling us by name. But here's the thing. The last couple weeks, okay, Bailey, here we go. The last couple weeks, I have very much been leaning into the compassion of Jesus, the kindness of Jesus, right? Because that's what we need. It's a hard world right now, and I need the compassion and the kindness and the patience of him. But we are required to respond. I like that word, required. Faith requires you to get up off the couch and do something. You can't sit around and play video games all day or watch Netflix all day and grow in your relationship with God.
Yeah, faith isn't genuine without both parties participating. You know, God, the one
That's
who's
good.
believed in, participates in being God. He calls to you, he calls your name. He tries to reveal things to you. But faith also requires participation on your part of, I'm going to make the necessary steps to be able to hear God's voice. I'll make the necessary steps to grow. Make the necessary steps to go where God's calling me to go.
Right. Zacchaeus does not stay in the tree. Yes, Jesus came to him and called his name while he's in the tree, but he does not stay there. If he did, his life would not have been changed. He would have said, hey, Jesus, and Jesus would have kept walking.
Goodbye. Then he waddled away.
But he got down. So what does he do? He hurried down from the tree. He welcomed Jesus into his house, and then he gave restitution to all the people that he had been wronged, or that he had wronged. So he does several things with this action. My question for you, for us, is, are we responding to Jesus calling our name? Or are you like letting this be like a real lazy time in your life? Maybe a lot of our people at West, or maybe me and you, are sitting here going like, well, I mean, I read a little bit of scripture, so I'm good. I spent 10 minutes with Jesus this morning, so I'm okay. But I don't know if that's enough to get out of the tree and start walking with Jesus.
And I think Rich's words in his weekly updates have been so good when he is saying, like, you have the time, don't let it go to waste. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying spend all your time. Don't spend 24 hours just devoted to scripture, because you're going to get bored of it. That's not real life. That's not all the things. You take scripture and then you go experience life and you apply it to scripture. That's part of it. But we have more time now than we ever have to devote to God, devote to reading scripture. Let's take advantage of it.
Right. You know, and Paul, and later in the New Testament, talks about like faith without works is dead. And so we need a balance of works and faith. Like, you can't just go out and start doing all the things without having the heart of Jesus behind it. So I'd like that Zacchaeus responds to Jesus. And it kind of is a kick in the pants. Like, it's going to make me get up and go do things and think about other people and think about Jesus. So what happens after that? Verse 9. And Jesus says to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man," meaning him, "has come to seek and save the lost." And so his response to this is that you are saved, your house is saved, and you have a place as the son of Abraham. Now, what does this mean for them? And this, honestly, this would be a whole sermon in and of itself if we could really talk about being a son of Abraham. But the Jews in this point take huge ownership in the fact that they are God's people, and the fact that they are sons and daughters of Abraham. And Jesus is reminding them, even though he screwed up before, he did not lose his place. And your family, your car, your last name, your house does not decide your future, right? Jesus and relationship with Jesus is what decides your future. Man, the house you live in, the car you drive, the last name you have does not decide what your future is. The fact that you had macaroni and cheese for dinner does not decide what your future is. Your relationship with Jesus and the fact that you are a son or a daughter of Abraham, or a son or a daughter of Jesus.
And
Of God, not Jesus. We're co-heirs with Jesus. Sorry.
Those things might not determine your future, but Jesus meeting you in the middle and you getting down from the tree does.
That's
Both
good.
of those determine your future.
Preach that. That's good. Okay, so what I want to go back to, this is not what Zacchaeus expected, right? When we went on spring break, we did not expect to be here. It's been a month, right? It's probably been right at a month. When we went on spring break, this is not what we expected. But God has met me in it. And I don't want to speak for you, but I would bet that God has met you in the last month. So maybe things are happening that you don't expect. Have you ever had an experience, Bailey, that was positive or negative that you didn't expect?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not necessarily like a big birthday person. Like, I don't need to be showered with all this love on my birthday. I like people to know it's my birthday, and I like to get gifts on my birthday. But these last 2 years on my birthday, life has been going crazy around the world. And so 2 birthdays ago, so this time last year, my dad was in the hospital with this random thing we didn't expect. He had all these problems, had to have surgery. But on my birthday, I spent my whole entire day in the hospital room with my dad.
Right.
And then this year on my birthday, coronavirus is happening. I couldn't leave. And so I expected my birthdays both years to be like seeing all my people and getting to go to dinner and getting presents and all these things. And what it turned into was me seeing very few people.
Both times.
Being isolated to a room. And just kind of handling life, which is fine. That's what it called for, right? But it wasn't what I expected either time.
And here's the thing. If our lives were only ever what we expected, it would be so much less. Less in every capacity. Less emotionally, less relationally, less financially, less physically, all of these things. And so sometimes it's hard. Things don't meet our expectations. But God is so much bigger. I was just reading a couple of days ago where it talked about how God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts and God's intentions are better than our intentions. And so it's okay to be living in unexpected times right now. God is going to meet us and say, Zacchaeus, come down from the tree.
Man, and that's a great word. I wonder how many of us think this is one of those negative, unmet expectations, when really we're on top of a tree and God's just calling us to get down and meet him.
And then we get to have dinner. Like, you go into the house with Jesus and have dinner.
Man, if that house is Chewy's, I am in. Quick.
Count me in. I'm here for it on the Chewy's. Oh, should we get Chewy's for dinner? That's a great idea. What is the takeaway that we need to take from this story from Luke 19 is that God will do things in your life that you don't expect, because Zacchaeus did not expect it. So my question for you today is, what has God done in your life in the last month that you didn't expect? That's what I want you to consider, and I want you to think through, what has God done? And then the challenge for you is I want you to text either Ryan, Bailey, or me and tell us. We want to know, what is God doing in your life? Honestly, if you want to FaceTime us and tell us, we'd probably like that even better. That'd be way more fun. But tell us what God is doing in your life. And then my offering to you is that if you don't feel like God has done anything, then start to listen for him to say your name. Start to pay attention to what God is doing, because he will show up and he will call your name, and then he will come into your house and spend time with you, and it'll change your life. It really will. And you changing your life will go and change the world. All right. I think that'll do it for today. It's been really great. We're going to go get Chewy's. It sounds great.
I'm so excited.
I'm down for some Mexican food. But if you want a shirt, these are really great. They're only $6. We know you want one. Go on the website and grab one, or leave a comment in the videos, and we will give away shirts to some of the people that comment.
Yeah, that's really great. And we love doing life with y'all. And so we want to interact with y'all. Some of the ways you can do that is through Instagram, interact with that. You can also interact with the YouTube. And so like this video, subscribe to it, turn on notifications. It sends you a notification when we go live, which is so good, because who knows if it's Tuesday or Wednesday or Saturday or whatever day
Seriously,
it is.
what day is it?
And so turn on those notifications, subscribe, and you'll get notified. You'll get notified when we put things up, and I think that's really, really great. And so,
All right.
See y'all.